what we have tried to do is, there was this original charter that we wanted to have a pathway system for an educational approach as part of this grant. And I was always passionate about how we constantly replicate what we try to teach and reuse it or not share it well enough in academia. Yeah? And on the other hand, we have a disconnect between what the industry needs and what the industry hopes to get out from our graduates and what we as the smart academians think you should know. Yeah? And there we push down here. So this is a little bit of disconnect that I perceive every now and then. So the idea was here, there's a lot of information out there that is what we call public domain, common domain, where we should agree on. And it shouldn't be individuals necessarily only, being individual educators. Even the educators argue among each other, and then we argue with the industry what's the right thing. So I wanted to have some kind of a platform where we communicate this. And that's where we came up that what we called a curriculum development and delivery portal. Yeah? So this is an online, you see, that's one of the few hats I wear that I'm interested in programming and do some stuff in terms of how we can support our educational systems. And so I basically started off in this. We have a redundancy of content. We have actually inconsistent. There is, of course, nobody has the clear truth. Is there a common truth, or is there a truth where 80% can agree on? If you want to know something, let's say you heard a term, passive house. Yeah, we heard about this today. What would you do to find out about passive house? Internet. Huh? So you go on there. Google is our friend, right? Yeah, so Google is the first thing, yeah? The first 10 hits on Google are what? Marketing, yeah? People who have a good search engine optimization and jump up there, yeah? Do they tell you the truth? If they are good, yeah, you're lucky. That's where Google actually has this feel lucky link, yeah? Just go for the first one. Well, I actually never really feel that lucky. As an academic, I'm notoriously skeptic, yeah? And I don't go for the first one. So what is the truth we would trust more if we don't use Google directly? Next step, our kids do this in school because it's the safer environment if we want. Anybody went to Wikipedia? Yeah. So I actually tell my students, it's a good point to start. Not everything on there is true, but you find references. And one of the things that is there, yeah, I was jumping ahead of myself here. That's happening as well. So what is there has been usually done by a more or less common discussion. Sometimes this discussion happened by one person with himself, so there's the freedom of putting up stuff on your own. But typically it's public to be commented and shared. So I have to go back here how this all started. It was actually a pretty exciting partnership that we developed as part of this proposal with community colleges, yeah? Who are more at the forefront of teaching in the practical field that many companies hire. While at the university level and on the graduate level, we sometimes have this too far ahead thinkers, what we think, okay, some are visionaries, some are just running down the wrong road, it might happen as well, yeah? But by bridging those and bridging them with the industry in a very critical and sensitive technology topic, like energy efficiency in buildings. It's very important. It has a social impact that we get it right. From my accent, you hear that I grew up in Europe, and they didn't get everything right either. Yeah? So we can actually learn a lot of lessons there. And so what I'm trying to preach. But what we do regionally as a pilot could actually have a broader impact Virginia-wide. So I'm hoping that we actually get, and some of those who worked with me on this project are pretty tired of it already, yeah? Because it's a cumbersome process, and we don't see all the merits directly. Huh? So that's why it's important to you have a constant sounding board with different audiences. We go out to other community colleges. Next month we go to Charlottesville and actually Lynchburg to meet with another educator group to see what they're. And that's what I was hoping here today, to get a group of industry folks from a very diverse background and collect some input as well. And I will show you how we can interact in this. So the intent that we had going out there, we want to create a working discussion relationship between the stakeholders. And educators are the one, as I told you, we have the power, if you want, to push stuff we think it's important for the society down the workforce alley. Yeah? Employers, you do a lot of training on your own. Yeah? Sometimes it's experience, which is very valuable. Sometimes it's, that's what we always did. Yeah? And so there is inertia. The change is sometimes hard to overcome. Yeah? But there is also a broader public, and this is our owners, the homeowners who we try to reach and educate. So once you make it accessible, and hopefully we show up at a Google search at some point as well, at least regionally, that's what works, and we have our mission there as well. So what we try to do is, this is a pilot project, if you want, to some part, a collaborative content authoring, where professors of different disciplines share their content, comment on content, and assemble it to a common goal. Then we break this content up in different elements, what we call learning modules, that can be reused or used at different levels. So starting at maybe at a high school level for an intro course, maybe at a community college. That's one of the examples I show here of a community college intro course for energy management. We can also use it on a higher level on universities or graduate levels. And ultimately, we would like, we're not there fully implemented, yeah? Have a channel of dissemination or publication. And internet, online courses, I know we didn't put it on the big perspective here, that we can actually disseminate this online because it's a regional workforce training grant. But that doesn't mean that we cannot harvest the same efforts we did for a larger audience and try there as well. So to give you a little bit of what is status quo, Virginia Tech, for example, moved to what we call a content management system for teaching, where professors upload their stuff. You see, I have my teaching notes that I did. I have to post some syllabus. There is a forum. There's some interaction going on. That's what I do with my students. What's the drawback of such a content management system? The content here is dynamic only in that aspect that if I delete it, if I move up another file, if I have a presentation that I changed, that changes. Yeah? So users can post and download stuff. That's very much what a content management system is. Does this allow us now to interact as professors with the content itself? That's where we have the limitation. The only way to do this, so let's say this would be a PowerPoint file or something what's mostly used in education nowadays. They can, as you see here, put you to sleep very quickly. I hope I don't, yeah. I'm trying to be entertaining enough. But I know the danger, the borderline there. So they are somehow static as well, yeah? How could I interact with other professors to teach the same stuff? They could download my PowerPoint, do some changes, and upload again. Do we have a track of changes, anything, any communication interaction? None, yeah? So there is some sharing among professors, really rare, yeah? But it's that you say, okay, here are my slides, go run with it, but that's it. So it's a one-way street. There is no discussion, communication. And on the other hand, that's what we had before. If you look at a Wikipedia page, and so what's on there is the truth, right? Well, you ever notice that each single one of you has access to the truth of this page or to what they think it needs to be done? Ever notice that there is an edit button or link up there that allows you now to jump into the real content? Most of you will be quickly scared off by all this markup language and strange. It looks like programming, yeah? It's actually not so complicated, but it's a little bit, maybe that's on purpose, yeah, to throw off people to mess too much with it. But the immediate response, I usually hear a lot from colleagues, and I did it on the national, and I discussed it on a national level in a meeting. But what about my authorship? How am I recognized, yeah? I have to do my scholarly publications, I have no control what others do with that. And this is just a mindset that we need to overcome as let others do what it is, yeah? With my content. If they don't agree, they don't agree. How can we, what if they really mess with my content, yeah? There is an option there that is called View History. And if we just look, I did this just yesterday for this example, because I wanted to, there is this, what dumb person that loves bacon, yeah? Who apparently put something in, I don't show you the details, something about Charlie Steger, our provost, yeah? And so he bent the truth a little bit. Well, it was actually complete nonsense what he put in there. Apparently, that happens in a public forum, yeah? You have always these people messing around with public content. Some people call it art if it's graffiti, so maybe it's really nice, yeah? But here I wouldn't call this art what is. So immediately, there is someone, okay, watching it and reverted it back to a history. So what you can do, what you need to have is a history function to roll back. And that's what we try to have in our content. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if you can read it back there, but the dumb person, spelling dumb without the B. So it's really about, yeah, that's what we know about you now, yeah? And so reverting back to the, so what we tried to find here were a few things that were really important for us. Server-based, we don't want to deliver software to anyone, yeah? So internet should be accessible everywhere. We actually have it accessible. I fought for that, and now we don't have computers in here. Yeah? So that's what I was hoping you to get engaged and try, directly comment on something, and wanted to show you how easy it actually is. Well, maybe you don't agree that it's easy. Zero cost. Academics, we don't have money. Huh? We don't want to. There is enough passion and enthusiasm out there that allows us to do stuff free, to publish stuff free. Wikipedia doesn't cost you anything, even if we dump a lot of data on there. And this is incredible, actually, if we look at it, for how much things we have to pay for. Programmers donating their time, that's what we call open source, where programmers share, I wrote this piece of code, use it. Free for you to use. Add on. That's what we should do with energy education as well. I develop my slides. Use it, spread it. I will not reach everybody. If you don't agree, change it. Maybe I'll learn something from that. Huh? That's what Peter Yost said in his intro. Who was this LL Bean's guy? I want to see the failures. Yeah? I want to see where I'm wrong. That's where I learn most. So these are our premises that we set out here. Yeah, well, then the authoring requirements, we want to collaborate. We want to work on the same piece, like in a Wikipedia page. On the other hand, I want to be able to use it in a classroom or in an online setting. So this is a broad, ambitious perspective that we had, and we didn't fulfill everything, yeah? But we looked at online sources. Yeah, they could just give you this. This is only 5 tools that we looked at, or some platforms we can build off, and we did make to, you know, academics can go crazy with that, yeah? What's important, what's not, and we didn't find a really good single solution, and there's always a compromise, but what we ultimately came up with is a platform developed by a core German, you shouldn't use, I'm Austrian, yeah, just for the record, I'm not in favor of Germans, yeah, we have this. But it's government-funded, open source. So why we trust it, long-term interest by government aid, a lot of universities using this system, and highly modifiable and adjustable, because it's open source. We can add on anything we want, what should work for us. So that's where I actually wanted you to invite to go to this www.vacreates.org. This is a domain we have for that portal. So it's publicly accessible. And until now, we had it closed. So if you tried to go anywhere here, you didn't go very far, because what you need to do is register. And this is what we still ask you to do. So what I really hope for, and if I get only 5 of you, yeah, to go in there, register. look at one or two of the learning models we have on there. Maybe you learn something by reading through. What I want to collect is feedback. Feedback of people on the street, people in the industry, what they think, is this really important for someone who does energy efficiency in buildings? And I will show you our academic approach to this in one example element, what we have there. This is an independent, it doesn't have, it's not directly linked to the colleges, yeah? It's a product that we developed at Virginia Tech. It can be used by the colleges. It can be released to students. We just finished, this was part of the parallel process of developing content with the colleges, with the community colleges, and which now moves into a dissemination mode, yeah? So it has not been used in the classroom yet so far. So what you have here is basically just a name, and it needs to be a valid email address. And if you want to, there is a role, and I need to go here. And you basically click register. If you don't provide a real email address, you won't get this link. So we don't want to have fake signups. We want to keep the user level to a realistic amount. That's when you get then an email. In the email, there is a link, activate your account, and that brings you then to your login. I can show you this in the initially, right now, with the open access, it wasn't open until yet. You only have a reviewer function, a reader, kind of a student function, yeah? That it doesn't give you the authoring rights as you have in Wikipedia. If there are educators among you who want to participate, you can always contact, there is a contact, there's several areas where you can contact, or if you just send a comment anywhere, it's usually copied to the admin, which is basically me. Then I can move you into the educator role. But this is a, let's say, an authorized process, because once you are in part of the educator community, you are able to change anything, change our common content. And at this point, I want to keep a reviewing process, an input process, and the educational output still separated. I want you to communicate, but not, there is always, the industry should not teach, or after we taught them, yeah? There is still the teaching role, but we don't want you to, the industry complete, there's always the fear in academia that the industry completely takes over what we should teach, yeah? And we want to have the liberty to reflect on that. But basically, once you have your login, that's where you come in, have a reviewer, user that I have. There is a basic desktop. So this is what we call the front end. And once you have looked around a little bit, you see there will be several books, as we call, topics as we call them. And you might be interested in some of them, few of them, oh, never heard of that, don't want to, so this will not land on your desk. Huh? But it's like going to a library, and you will have several books when those you're interested, just for quick access. And you might actually look at courses. So there is this two different things of what a course and what is the content. On the other hand, you have the possibility to take your own notes. So if this is used in a classroom, you can directly take your notes, and they stay with you wherever you are. So this would be one option of a delivery process. We try to keep the menu as simple as possible. So that's why there are just two elements up there. One for some settings, and the other one is the content menu. Yeah? And the root up there, this create home, that's where you start. That's when we open up what we call a repository. That's the complete content tree, which looks like that. So this is a tree that you have done. There are public things, but we have two main areas. One is a topic catalog that creates a structure of content, like a library. If you want to go for esoterics, yeah, you will have your shelf. If you want to go for science fiction, you have a shelf. Then you will find books there that you want to invest, and just maybe look at the chapter. And as an educator, we pull from these chapters and put together our course. So if you go to the course section, you will find, right now we have one intro course in there, that's where I want you to test your response. That is public. There are several courses you don't see that others can. So each professor can develop his own course with this content, and you wouldn't see unless he releases it to the student. But The course then is actually already an assembled content package, if you want. You see there's a lot of stuff in there. Yeah? I don't want you to go through all this. Yeah? I want you, if you go in there, to look at one of these books. Open up one of these books you want to read a little bit about. Yeah? And click at one of those chapters or learning modules, as we call them, and say, OK, I want to contribute to this, or I want to see what this is about. And then tell me, oh, this is actually completely useless, or it's actually nice for, you should expand on this, and several elements of commenting. So I will show you in a live session this in a second, but what I want to, we have two main views. That's a little bit confusing, maybe. So we have this content tree that has all these learning packages. They have all icons. It looks very colorful in the beginning, yeah? But once you get a hang on it, it makes some sense. If you if you open one of these books, yeah, that's like going into class, yeah? Going into one session, it changes in a different view. Now you have your class layout. You see the old tree was gone, and this is now the structure of this course. That's where we want to communicate. That's where users, like students, or even yourself, you read something, oh, I want to learn more about this, yeah? You have the opportunity to add your own private notes. They only stay with you. For example, oh, I want to read up on this. This note moves on your desktop. When you log in next time, you know quickly which notes you take. For students, it might be an option, just what the professor said, if there was a live interaction. If they studied it on their own, they take notes. Oh, need to ask my friends about this. Didn't understand it. Goes back to my professor. Or make other notes. Yeah? So this is a private way of taking notes. What I wanted to show you, how do we get back to our original tree? Yeah, because now we are in class. This is the way out. Yeah? What we call a breadcrumb tree. The first element is always our exit. That's how we go back to our library, if you want. Yeah? Stepping out of class, going back to a library. And so this is for your personal use, these private notes. More important, the simplest form of interaction, public comments. That's why I would like to see comments coming in. As simple as that, type your thoughts to what you just read up there. You see, we started out with quotes. If it's just funny, oh, I haven't heard about it. Oh, I have another one. Put it in there. That's where the communication starts. Yeah? And all it is, straight text, no formatting. Yeah, let's keep it professional. It can be funny, but still professional in terms of no insulting, no harassing, and of course, it's I have the right to delete everything. Yeah? So do you, once you have added your comment, you only show up with your username, not with your real name. If this is a concern, we can discuss about something like that later. And here I can leave my comment. You have the opportunity to edit it. Yeah? You don't have the opportunity to lead others, yeah, or edit other comments, but your own. I have the opportunity to lead them if they are not fitting. So there's some kind of moderator role to that. Yeah, that's about it for this part of the communication. Then once you see, these are always the indicators. Here you took notes. Here you left comments. Only that's where you can quickly jump in and go back to those. And then there is a more generic interaction. Yeah? We originally had it directly connected to these books, if you want. This strip here. And I believe at this point, where we are still exploring this interaction capabilities, it's too much confusion if we have a forum under each book. Yeah? So at this point, in this main section up here in the help and topics, where you will actually also find some screencasts and some guidance videos of how to interact if you do different roles. That's what we are finishing out now in our project. That's where we have two main forums where you can easily post, again, very generic thoughts. So while you should leave comments directly to a page that was of your interest, that falls in your expertise, I would like you to participate in the larger discussion. where the content discussion can go, oh, the structure is completely confusing. I didn't find anything. Or I would like to see another topic, another book for passive house, yeah? Because it was not in there at this point, yeah? It might be something to worth learning. That's what I want to read up on. If you can guide me here, give me some, that's what we can have. So there should be a content discussions. And then we still have a, if this doesn't fall under directly to some page that you just read for the direct comments, to the overall structure we have, content discussion, but just usability that I would like to hear back from that as well. So if you think, nice effort, but how are you going to distribute it? And, or if you have ideas, you should move this into to companies, yeah, to send out for continuous training or other ideas. That's where we can have these discussions. That brings you up. So that's a pretty virgin account, if you want, yeah, because I just set it up for this demonstration.